Hello everyone and welcome back to another City. We're going to be doing a how to build on the Guild's Rising Star Gamer Shin, or just Blue Gamer Shin. The Shin is probably the most relevant Shin out of all the ones we have in the game, only because the Shin, with his passive and his kit and who he can sort of work with, is pretty good. His substats and his stats unfortunately do suffer from the same fate as the other Shins. Having low pierce rate, okay resistance, it's nowhere near good, but it's not as bad as some characters I have seen. Crit resistance is very low, crit defense is abysmal. If you get crit, you're basically just instantly dead. Lifesteal's not too bad, but my biggest problem is the fact that his CC is only about 60,000. Yes, he's not True Awakened, yes, he's not 6/6, yes, his gear isn't engraved, but engraving doesn't really make the most difference, especially when he's already got, 5 outfits, 4 weapons, 4 headgears, and his relic. I don't think engraving... Thanks for my back. I don't really think engraving his gear is going to make the biggest impact. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is, and I do believe that these characters maybe just need a slight CT boost, not an LR, but maybe a new upgrade they can add to old characters that boosts their main stats and their substats, not to make them, competent with today's UR bases or all of those sort of brand new characters, but just enough to a point where they're not immediately going to get one tapped by the most recent festival. But with an AoE skill, so end up being killed in collateral damage. Skills wise, he has a charge skill, which is one of the worst effects in the entire game. Doesn't really do the most damage. I guess it could be decent against a Lance humans team, because they have quite a bit of defense, but that's it. He also has a weak point AoE as well, which has the standard weak point AoE multiplier. Not as good, in my opinion, as the green Shin, which has an AoE skill as well, an AoE weak point as well. Ultimate is his normal shatter ult. He has the two worst effects in the entire game, charge and shatter. I do think that they should, maybe just reconsider these effects, make them just a little bit better. Maybe charge does ignore resistance and half of crit resistance and crit defense, or something like that, just to make it a little bit better. Charge, don't know, maybe it does a little bit extra damage depending on how much the enemy's defense is. Something along the lines of that, just to sort of make those skills a little bit more valuable on a character, instead of them just being sort of holding them back quite badly. Of course, Shin's an old character, so once again, he's going to have an old style ultimate. Increase allies' attack related stats by 5% for each human ally participating in battle. Decrease all enemies' defense related stats by 10% for one turn at the start of the ally's turn. This is pretty decent. You won't really see Shin much in PvP, in terms of just general PvP, but Chaos Mode, once again, you'll see him pretty frequently because his points are always decently low, and also catastrophes, there are a few that have quite a nice chunk of CC, and you end up seeing these catastrophe whale teams that will just basically nuke you turn 1, because that's their whole purpose, is to kill you turn 1 so you don't have a turn. It's just speed farming basically. But it's not the worst. Attack related stats, he's one of the few attack related stat boosters that humans do have. There's not many humans that have some sort of attack related stat boosting for your team. You've got Jenna, you've got Shin, I can't really think of any other ones off the top of my head, but most of them are either defense related stats or basic stats, and after a while you sort of do need those attack related stats, because most characters or most teams nowadays have some way to boost their substats, their defense related stats, and it makes it harder, for characters that don't have a way to boost their attack related stats to crit. But that's unfortunately how it's always going to be. The defense lower is pretty decent, it's pretty nice. It also helps with characters that need debuffs to set up, or for example LR Lilia, she likes debuffs with her relic gives her 10% basic stats per debuff. This Shin can immediately provide her with 30% basic stats, plus the additional debuffs that Lilia applies. She immediately has max relic turn 1, and then you've got an insane DPS in Lilia, because LR Lilia is an insane DPS, especially when it comes to Chaos Mode. His relic increased the hero's damage dealt by 50% when attacking a debuffed enemy. This will just help him deal damage, and the fact that there's already a debuff applied with his passively, it means he's basically always doing 50% more damage, because the enemy's always going to be debuffed, of course, unless they got a cleanse skill, or it's a character that's immune to debuffs, like Green Levi or Red Esterosa. He's always going to be doing 50% more damage, which is decent. It's decent damage. Yes, his stats aren't the best, but 50% increased damage, it's still going to be noticeable to quite a significant degree. His ultimate doesn't scale stupidly. No additional effects, just a really old style ultimate. That's the reason why I think Shatter and Charge should really get maybe just a slight revamp. Not so it's extremely broken, because of course there are tons of characters that have Shatter or Charge effects on skills or ultimates, and you wouldn't really want to buff that effect to make it too broken, but maybe make a new effect that is basically Shatter revamped, which we do have a few of them, and give it like a little bit extra to it, just a little bit extra spice to it. If you get Wise HTB defense, he's not built for DPS, he's more built for support, and you want him to have as much CC and as much HP, as much defense as possible, just so you can sort of make up for the abysmal defense related stats that he does have, unfortunately. But he's got a really cool skin. I really do like this Shin, and I really can't wait to use him in Chaos Mode, because unfortunately I wasn't actually able to use him in Chaos Mode because I got him, I think, after Chaos Mode had left. But yeah, he's a really cool looking character. I really like this outfit, especially for this version 1. Outfits wise, we've been given a ton for free. You've got the green Shin one, you've got red Shin, which is the Halloween Shin, you've got the event one we were given for free, you've got this blue Shin's outfit, you've got all these free weapons from events or through affinities or evolution, however you get them. Headgear's the same through like affinity or events like this one. Pretty sure this one's an affinity one, this one's an affinity one, and this one is a event one. You can tell by the headpiece that goes through his jacket. And then his relic. His relic gives okay stats. Shin was it was in like the first wave of relics. Like his relic released in the first like 6 months, which means it's going to be very old style relic. And he was, at the time of his relic released, he was like the best gold farmer in the game. But that, once again, we didn't have like any really difficult gold farming stages. Nowadays, it's a little bit more tricky compared to the previous ones. But he's still generally a good character to get, especially if you care about Chaos Mode and you like to push Chaos Mode, because Chaos Mode, it's a fun game mode when you find a nice team to play it with, or like a meme team, or like a team that shouldn't really work, but it does, utilizing old characters like Terry. He's a character that you don't really see much in Chaos Mode, but he's always nice to see and always nice to use, because he provides so much for the team, he's got good damage, his ultimate's kind of nice. And yeah, thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.